Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Galactic Ambition, a Star Wars Unlimited podcast, part of the Maindeck podcast family. I'm Dan.
And I'm Jason. And did you know that my World of Warcraft character was named Ambition?
No, I had no idea.
Isn't that
actually,
crazy?
I did know that. And I was naming this podcast. I thought, I really need to reference Jason Toro's Star Wars World of Warcraft character.
Yeah, I figured that was a really lofty kind of goal to go after. And I figured you did that as kind of like an Easter egg for me as your friend. Yep. So I definitely appreciate that. But how's everything going with you? We just had some holidays.
We did just have some holidays. I slept more than 6 hours a night for a record number of nights in a row. So that was really cool. But now I am back to the grind. How was your holiday, Jason?
About the same. I, without giving too much information away about myself, I work in retail. I manage a grocery store, and this time of the year is insane for us. So we're finally on the other side of it. But my grocery store I run is also a health food store. So now we're into the new year, new me, everyone's resolution. So people want kale. Lots of kale.
We need kale.
And supplements and vitamins. So we're doing that. So it's been really good, but we're kind of back into it. I kind of talked about it. So real quick, do you have a New Year resolution that you want to share with everybody? Because I have one.
Oh, well, you didn't. So you totally surprised me here. New Year's resolution. My New Year's resolution is, well, no, I do have one. I do have a New Year's resolution. It's relevant to all of our listeners as well. Audience, by the way, comment with your New Year's resolution if you have one, especially if it's TCG related.
Yeah.
My New Year's resolution is to always get out these podcasts every 2 weeks to you guys. That's to me, that's one of the most important things this year as we started this initiative. And I'm going to make it happen.
Well, sick. We're 2 for 2 so far, barring any unforeseen circumstances. You know, everything goes on. For me, it's to make the time to play the games I talk about. I do a lot of running stuff, and which actually lends to our topic today of organized play. You and I have a pretty robust background in running these things and making sure events go smoothly. So my trading card game-esque resolution would be to play the games I talk about rather than just sit there and just talk about them and pine for the times when I used to sleeve cards up.
Yeah, I hear that happens to a lot of content creators. Unfortunately, is that you spend so much time creating content you don't have time to play. That happened to me when I was judging too. I know that happened to you too.
Yeah,
judging.
That's where I'm at right now. I help and organize so many things in the local level. It's like you get tired and you want to actually get in there and do it. You want to help and grow everything, but also it's like, dang it, what? I want to get in on this. So that's kind of like my resolution, is to really get in there and focus on time to play while growing my community. I think I need to find a balance to do both.
I agree. I am worried with Star Wars Unlimited coming and with some other games on the slate for this year. I'm worried that I'm going to lose my time a little bit to play some of these games, and I guarantee I won't be able to commit all of the time I want to every game come. I love so many TCGs right now. It's such a good time
thing,
for
right?
TCGs.
Like that's a good thing to say. Like, and what we're kind of in almost like a renaissance of the TCG genre, especially post pandemic. And I know that's kind of like cliche, but seriously, things are really starting to pick back up in the TCG space, not just with Star Wars, all around. So I think you're exactly right. Making sure we can find that time to embrace everything while we're in this kind of golden age of there's always something, and there's something there for everybody to do and want to do. So looking forward to that, and looking forward to actually getting there and playing and doing everything we need to do, and going out there and going 0-3. With whatever jank I decide to build. The classic. That's the classic.
Hey, if you don't know how to play the game, you judge the game. That's
those who can't do teach. And that's what I always say. And it's funny because I'm like, oh yeah, I can know every rule. Doesn't mean I don't know when to take my foot off the gas or anything. I just know how it should work. It doesn't mean I'm going to follow it. Just like, go.
I know how the rules work.
And when we get into latter episodes too, especially as we start delving into more cards on our play styles, I think everyone will quickly learn that I kind of just have one. There's no aggro. I'm a big aggro guy.
Just attack.
I want to hurt somebody.
We have the
scope of a game, not in real life.
It depends. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
No,
yeah, for
no.
sure, for sure. But
The
I,
we have the aggression Sabine player already locked in on this podcast,
give me whatever
which
I
is
could just turn sideways, and
a
I'm off to the
wonderful
races.
like a wonderful contrast with me, since I'm likely going to be very, very control oriented. I'm already eyeing all these control builds. Like, I think
Yeah,
that's where I need to be. So that's going to be really fun. Now, as far as whether or not we go 0-3, I do want to point out one thing. So, um, because we didn't really get to talk about this too much in the first episode, but with Galactic Ambition, the real reason we're bringing it around, the real reason that we named this podcast Galactic Ambition is because not just because it's the name of a card in the set. It is the name of a card in the set. It's a really fun
right.
card too. I'm expecting down the line to be a sweet card, but because in the organized play for this game, the World Championship is called the Galactic Championship. And so I liked the idea of having a podcast where, you and I are we're gonna play when we can. And we I think you and I still, when we play, we strive to win. Like that's the case with a
Absolutely.
lot of TCG players. It's I think there are a lot of TCG players who are just like, I don't really care. I just like to sling the cards. But um, whether or not we've put up that performance all the time, you and I are players who, when playing TCGs, we are interested in winning the game, and we are interested in playing decks that win games. Um, and I'd like to see if the two of us can have that ambition, have that galactic ambition to reach the galactic championship.
Yeah, I
Um,
agree. And in short order, I'm going to mess you up, whoever you are. If you're listening, I'm coming for you.
I'm
No,
going to play
but
against you. I'm
I'm
going to
gonna.
destroy you.
Yeah, and if I don't talk to me about it or anybody else about it. Pretend it never happened.
If I don't, just leave me alone for the
Leave
rest
me
of time.
alone. No, you're exactly right. I want to, especially, and we're going to talk about that. I don't want to put the carriage before the horse. However that works, don't want to do that. I want to save that for a little bit later. But I'm really taking this game with more of an approach, especially now since we're creating content for it. And you being a good friend of mine, I want to help create the best content I can. That's going to involve me getting in the trenches and playing rather than just sitting out here and go, oh, and put my hands up. No, I need to
Yeah.
get there and play and get out there outside of an organization level. And I really want to take it seriously. Granted, yes, I'm an aggro player, but I know slants, I know plays, I know stuff like that. And I really, like you said, I really have that ambition to do well. And I hope you and I can carry that through. And then when you succeed and win a whole bunch of stuff, don't forget me
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
us
We'll
or the
see.
little people like us. You know what I'm saying?
We'll see about that. But I think what'll be interesting is for our followers, people who do enjoy this podcast and do like to follow along, is that I really think we're going to bring you on our journey. I want you to think of it as maybe a journey to the Galactic Championships. I don't know. Like, I'm realistic. I don't know that we're going to make it there, but I think you can expect in our future episodes to get our pretty, real time takes on the metagame, on performance of decks. Um, we're certainly going to be. I want this podcast to remain open to everyone who loves TCGs. Part of our thing at Main Deck is that TCGs are just fun to play. Okay, and we want you here because playing TCGs is fun. You like playing them, and we just want to engage with people at all levels of sort of interest in competition, whether you're a casual fan or a competitive player. But you also have to recognize, like I said earlier, even if, just like us, you like to play for fun, but you also like to win games, there's going to be some of that competitive aspect here. Um, there's going to be that slant on, like, okay, well, but let's talk about what's like truly meta playable and what's not. And I hope to have a sort of a healthy mix of those two things, I think, as we're going about this podcast.
Yeah, I think utilizing our experience at our locals will be really huge, kind of pull the veil back. I definitely think when that time comes, being able to utilize that experience at our locals, depending, mine, I don't expect it to be super large. I'm expecting to grow it into a super large local over time, with obviously the IP and things that they're doing and how fun the game is. But I think we could lend our experience from our local events through the tournament circuit, at which we're going to talk about our thoughts on all that this episode, and really just kind of hopefully give you that insight you need with a fair balance of talking about stuff like this. And I know, and I kind of wanted to mention it in kind of the first part of it. I understand that people are going to want to talk about cards, and I want to talk about cards, but at the same time, you have to understand with we have so much to cover in this next few months, and we're going to get more reveals and everything else. And as we find out more, I think it's important to touch on the subjects we're talking about. And we're going to have plenty of time to talk about cards and plenty of time to talk about deck strategies as things unfold. So I'm really excited about all of that to share with everybody.
Yes. Let's definitely stop talking about talking at this point, though, and yeah, I think there's gonna be a lot to look forward to. So I hope you guys are along with the ride for us. I hope you guys enjoy, and I hope you find this an interesting podcast to have in your regular rotation of. There's so many good Star Wars Unlimited podcasts. I listen to multiple weekly as well. So just hope you guys enjoyed that. But today, what we're going to be discussing is going to be our own. We just want to get our 2 cents in there, our take on the organized play program, what Fantasy Flight's doing. I think both right and what we would do differently, perhaps, is maybe the way to phrase that. Before we jump into that, I have to just throw out my usual quick little plug here. 2 great ways you can support Maindeck. If you really enjoy what we're doing here, you can like, comment, sub, do all that stuff on the YouTube video. If you're listening on Spotify or iTunes, we are everywhere now. You'll find us wherever you go. I even have a nice little Spotify playlist of all of our podcast episodes for the whole Maindeck podcast family. 5-star reviews everywhere are really, really helpful to us too. If you do enjoy this, we would really greatly appreciate you popping on, giving a little five galactic stars through hyperspace on us there, and that'll make us feel great. The other thing you can do to support us is down in the description. I have a link to our TCG Player affiliate code. TCG Player is, of course, a wonderful site for buying your trading card, trading cards, sealed product, whatever, at market value. And if you use that affiliate link, it's going to be exactly the same way you shop at TCG Player normally, except you're going to give us a little bit of a kickback at the end. It doesn't cost you anything extra, but it does help us out. So consider doing that. That is down at the link in the description, or bit.ly/shoptcgs. That's bit.ly/shoptcgs. Now, with that all said, Jason, we're talking organized play here, and we're talking Fantasy Flight. I mean, okay, before we even get into anything, credit where it's due. Fantasy Flight had a detailed, organized play program completely revealed months before the game releases. Okay?
Yeah, that's amazing. That's simply amazing. It's really excellent that they did that, because they understand that one of the lifebloods of this game is going to be organized play and getting people in there competing for prizes, glory. We play these games for fun, and Maindeck is, you're right, it's about trading card games are fun. The other side of that coin, the third side of that coin, is is winning. I want to have fun, but I also winning is awesome. Losing is great for the experience, but secretly I'm just angry about it. But winning is great, and having things to go after is great, and them really kind of diving head first and with a robust, organized play schedule right out the gate, so that people know that, okay, we're taking this seriously, I think is fantastic.
There are some TCGs. There's at least one TCG that's on the market today that has released a second set and is previewing cards for its third set and hasn't released its organized play schedule. We're not going to name any names, but it is Lorcana. And
thought this was a safe space, but you're sure.
No, I was thinking about saying something like cute, but then I was like, it's just, I just think it's a case where you need to sort of be grateful for what you have, right?
Yes. I kind of agree with you. I have thoughts on that with them, but if this was our Lorcana podcast, that would be a completely different story. I could expound on all that, or you could check out, become a Patreon with Maindeck, and we can kind of see what we talked about on our Patreon exclusive podcast we recorded last week. And we definitely talked a lot about them and what they're doing, without really, kind of being disparaging. But you're right. And we're fortunate enough the game's not even out yet, and we know what we're going to be doing at least potentially 3 sets down the line.
Yes. I do know that I really need to be stocking up some time off right now, because Okay, let's start at the beginning, Jason. We have C3 OP. Okay, that's what it's called. Some of this is going to be like you. If you guys you're jumping in, you're like you've been following since the very beginning. I apologize. Some of this is going to be
Yeah.
some pretty basic stuff, but we're going to get to our thoughts. I think as quickly as possible. Kind of skim over the basic information and get to the point where we're giving you opinions and stuff that you can't get anywhere else. But we do have to mention C3OP, which stands for collect, compete, collect, cracker. No, collect, compete, compare. No, what are they
Contrast.
again?
I don't remember. I'm not good with acronyms. And you know
I thought
what?
I
And I
pulled it
usually
up, but
make,
I didn't.
and to peel the curtain back, I usually make a little note of things and it's not on there. So I have failed us. So I apologize.
Collect, compete, something casual play. I don't know. It's I'm
Either
sure
way,
I'll find it.
yeah, we'll maybe Dan can put something on the screen and be like, that's what I meant it was. And if you're watching, you're like, oh, and then if you're listening, I'm sorry, you're out of luck.
Anyway, Fantasy Flight has a whole plan where they are going to be pushing casual play and competitive play. Sort of two different lines. And the collect thing is like just buy cards or whatever. And we know so far that they're basically the casual play plans are going to be initiated immediately. Like we've got starting from set one, you're going to be able to get in on that. That's going to be your local level play. Okay. Your local level play is going to involve pre-releases, which are going to happen from set one. Like we're going to have a pre-release for set one right now. Not right now. Sorry.
Oh,
But
not right now. Because if it's right now, what are we doing?
Yeah,
we're really messing up.
we're going to have it right a week before the set releases, pre-releases with sealed and draft play. Then you're going to move right into your weekly locals. And the thing that isn't going to be available from set one, but will be available starting in set two is the store showdown phase of things, which is going to be basically the highest level of competition at the local, just sort of basic local level. So on the other side of things, we are going to have the competitive side of things. And the competitive side is where you're going to be earning things like tournament points, which are going to qualify you if you are ambitious enough for the Galactic qualifier, the Galactic Championship. So I like they have, not to get too into the weeds, a pretty solid little system planned out here where we have planetary, then sector, then regional qualifiers, with planetary qualifiers being really a sort of like the select retailers. So they're held in store, just like a store gets to run a bigger event. And that's really cool. You have the sector qualifiers, and those are going to be bigger events held at like venues, larger scale than planetary qualifiers, but still, I believe, 1-day events. And then, no, sorry, I apologize. I believe they're 2-day events. Sector qualifiers are 2-day events as well. And then you have regional qualifiers, which are going to be a very few per season. So I think their plan was sector qualifiers about one per month. You're just going to have one, boom, 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 somewhere. There's going to be a sector qualifier to go to. And then regional qualifiers are just going to have a couple in every region, obviously, that are going to take place periodically, every few months, something like that. And through those events, you're going to earn points, and you're going to be stocking up those points. And if you get enough points, you get to get yourself qualified into the Galactic Championship, which is going to be the Worlds, and it's going to be invite only, but of course with like side events and all that sort of fun stuff that you can go do if you don't quite make the invite. 3-day event. And I'm sure some wild prizes, but we'll talk about that, I think, in a little bit as well. So that's the basic rundown, Jason. So what did I miss, or what are our thoughts?
So really didn't miss anything. My initial thought is, like you said at the beginning, I think it's very, I appreciate the transparency, and we keep using the same word, but the ambition to actually put that out. That's actually like huge. It's
our catchphrase, though. We have to use
it. It is. Right now we have to just hang everything off of it. But it shows that, like I said, they really want this to be successful on both a local game, like going to your local game shop, having something to do there each week. Local events will organize play kits. I know the solicitation just went out to retailers on what they need to purchase to get XYZ. I don't know how much we want to delve into that, but tying into that is going to be your pre-release allocations, etc. Kind of similar to what other games do. depending on how much you're purchasing, is what you'll get allocated for your pre-releases and stuff like that and your local organized play. So I think that's good. I also think that it's great that they're going to have large store level events. I think that's a big deal. And I think a lot of TCGs don't hit the mark on that. And we'll kind of talk about that with our expectations. And I'm really hoping that they can really knock it out of the park with that and what we're looking for. I guess my only with the initial thing is I wish we had something going from set one. Especially, we kind of talked about it before we fired this up, but they're designing it with being competitive play in mind from set one. So why don't we have something outside of just a little casual local thing going on from the get-go? Outside of that, though, it's a great schedule. I think that there's something there for everybody, and it's going to be really exciting to see how it all plays out.
I would like to jump right into, I think, what we wish would be done differently. I think, well, because it's not a long list. I mean, I agree with you. It's just this is a strong, robust structure. I love the support at the local level. I love the and by the way, they mentioned already like prizes, like you get the event packs that are going to have like alt arts. I'm a big fan, actually. By the way, I'm a big fan of promotional pack prizing.
Yes.
This goes way back. I mean, honestly, to the Magic days to some degree, but like the game where I saw this done the most wrong was actually Panini's Dragon Ball Z, which we brought up now 2 podcasts in a row, but that you can probably expect.
Let's go. We're going to talk about it more today as part of this.
We are. We sure are. But what they did, they had kits every like month or something that had a promo card for each pack. For each sort of release, they had like 3 months of some different promo cards that you would get, one for participation, one for top cut or whatever. So they would just send you these little containers full of cards. One time they sent them to me. They sent me some Metacross promos in like old Score Re-Z Dragon Ball Z deck boxes, and I just got to keep those boxes. And those were
Let's go.
That's
super sick.
Yeah, it was awesome. I still use them. They're great.
Wow.
But anyway, where it was really bad was that players would attend events for a little bit. They'd attend a couple events, and then they'd have their playset of participation. And the couple players who were like kind of tournament ringing would like have their playsets of like the top promos, and then they went, okay, and then they didn't care anymore. And they sent so many promos out that it didn't even matter. They weren't worth anything.
Yeah,
they were worth about like a couple dollars the day they came out, and then they just like, oh, do you want, like, to the point where people were memeing and like sleeving their deck in Goku's Kamehameha.
Oh yeah, backing your deck with Goku's Kamehamehas, backing your deck with Krillin's Destructo Disc, with all that stuff. And not to take away, but Final Fantasy does the same thing, but they do it a little different. We have stamped promos for the month. It's the same card. You get a full art or you get a non-foil. I think they do it better because they only send you 8. You can get more if you go through different distributors, and having it foil stamped in a full art, it's cards that you normally can't get that way. And it's like you said, I ran Panini stuff too, and we would get like 64, the Captain Ginyu one or whatever. And you're just like, this card is played at like 1, maybe, and the way that game worked, it was like if it was named, you ran it in your deck as a named character. So if it was Goku's Kamehameha this month, if you played Goku, well, great. If you had no desire to ever play Goku, well, boy, you were probably not showing up to locals every week, to be honest with you. You'd just be like, you know what, there's nothing to chase. So I agree with you. The PAX idea, superb. A game that really does it well, I think, are the Bandai games, actually.
Now Bandai uses games. Unique promos. Depending on the game. Some of their games use
I was going to say that. Let me backtrack. One Piece. They're just alternate arts or winter stamp cards. Battle Spirits, we know, do their own. They'll do cards that you can only get, which when we're going to talk about things we don't want, that's 100% something I don't want. But the idea of the promotional pack cards is going to be awesome. It's a serotonin hit when you open one of those up. It's the thrill, the surprise. You know that you're going in, you're going to get a pack. It's fun to trade those sealed because you can trade it sealed for something sometimes and get a better value at a local, or you'll open something you don't need, but somebody really wants it. So it generates a lot of hype, I think. So that is super sick.
One thing that I would like to see. So we'll start tossing in some of these here. Um, so a game that people who follow the channel know that we really like is Grand Archive. What Grand Archive's event packs have that other games don't, that I'm aware of, is exceptionally rare cards that are only in the event packs, treatments of cards. So they have what they call CSRs, collector super rares, which are full art, textured, often alternate art, textured foil, stamped with a gold signature, like just beautiful cards, little hot stamped gold stuff all over them. Gorgeous cards. And these things are really rare in event packs. That said, I've seen two opened in our LGS. But like you don't like that's two opened over the course of I mean what's 7-8 months or something of weekly locals. Okay, so like they're not common. You and they're not the only value in the packs, because the packs there you're getting they have hit rate on foils, which is a game with very low foils, instead of doing promo cards. Now Fantasy Flight is doing promo alternate art treatments of cards, but how cool would it be to have some like alternate art showcase leaders very rarely in these event packs? Now I think it's a little tricky, because like that adds a lot of potential value, and there are unscrupulous actors
Sure.
who will get those packs and open them or just sell the kits or whatever because of the potential for the value. But I don't know how to add value to something without adding value to something, you know? So like I think it might be a cost that you just have to eat, but like I think it would be so cool to be able to crack those open and get like, oh wow, I got like the alternate art Leia showcase, like another alternate art showcase that's like super rare or something.
Yeah, no, I agree with that point, and I want to further that point. What I would not like is exclusive cards you can only get by winning events that are different from cards you can open, as in a card that you can't open in a pack.
Yeah. I think I think I understood that, but I think you're right. I'm not sure the
Right.
audience understood that.
Yeah, I want to really kind of make that very clear. I think Dan is on the same stance. I think that is terrible. I think it's unhealthy. It promotes a terrible secondary market, where, oh, well, we put 64 of these out in the wild. Good luck. I am, to peel back the veil a bit more, I am a min rarity gamer. My cards are not full art. My cards are not foil, because I live in Florida and everything becomes a Pringle. If I had a card on my desk, I'd show you right now. It takes like a day for my cards to bend, because I live in a swamp. And even in my house, it does that. So I try to avoid it unless I absolutely want to. And probably my Final Fantasy VI deck, it's all max rarity. For the most part, I'm pretty close to max rarity. It's triple sleeved. It's like the Fort Knox of decks, because it's my favorite game. And well, it's another discussion, but it's close to my favorite game. And I want that max rarity, but normally I'm not. So for somebody on a casual-esque level, making cards like that do different things that normal cards would do, not to say they're not normal cards you just can't open in a pack or in a starter deck or something like that everybody can reach, I think that's a huge negative, and I really hope they don't go in that direction at any point.
Yeah, it's so I think the other side of the equation to think about is the LGS perspective. I'm in agreement. I'm not a fan of the unique cards. One thing that people who are a fan of unique effect cards in promo packs one thing they'll use to argue for it is that it is quite good at getting people into the seats at the LGS. I generally think that there are other things you can do to have enticing promo packs. Again, I'm a fan of Grand Archives. I think I'm tentatively a fan of Star Wars Unlimited's situation, although I think, it could still be improved upon a little bit. And I think given that there are multiple ways to I was going to say skin a Lothcat, but it makes me feel so bad to even think about that. So I'm actually going to pretend I never said that. There are multiple ways to go about getting the people to see the value in your event that way. Then one issue that actually comes up from having those promos is that inevitably, I've watched this happen in many Bandai games and in universes. It happened for a while. They've actually stepped back, I think, from this now too, though. I don't think they're just doing alternate arts now. Um, is they'll have a card come out. It will be a meta relevant card for a very particular. Bandai was so bad about this because they'd put in like, oh, this is key support for your Broly deck or whatever.
Or
And it's
here's the Axe Biter in Battle Spirits, and it was
Axe
like
Biter.
you needed that
example.
stupid card, and it was like, good luck.
Yep.
That's not good.
Then that card would skyrocket in value 30, 40, 50, 60, whatever, depending. And sure, the players could come weekly to your local tournament to try and get it. Okay. But we know how card prices work, right? We know how card values work. And we also know how deck building works and how the tournament schedule works. What realistically happens is a bunch of players who just need to build that deck because they want to play it locally, because it helps them win more promos to have that deck built because it's good, because they want to play at an event that's in a couple weeks, because they're just not going to make it to enough locals anyway. So why even bother? They're just going to go on to eBay, onto TCG Player using Maindeck's affiliate link. They're just going to go wherever they need to go, and they're going to purchase the promo cards from not their LGS. In fact, often from, sometimes from fellow players, but often from the unscrupulous actors who
that's what
are
I was
the ones who opened up 3 tournament cases and just tossed all the Brolys onto TCG Player or whatever. And who got the money in that scenario? Who really made money from this?
And to go further than that, a lot of those tournament kits, at least back then, did not cost stores a dime.
Yeah.
And now they do. Some do. I know Final Fantasy you have to pay, but it's mainly to have a SKU in the inventory. So when you order it, they can pull the SKU, because we had trouble getting promos. So now it's like, it's cheap. But as someone who ran Bandai events and ran DBS and ran regionals, it's like at the beginning, we didn't pay for that stuff. We just had to have I'm not going to say the name because I hate saying it. The card behind accounts.
Oh, yeah. I
don't want to. It's weird to say, but you could get the word I'm trying to contextualize from that. And all you had to do is have an account and send it, and then I would get a bunch of promo packs and set 1 and 2 promos for that game. That Brawly I had judged the second regional in Kissimmee, Florida for ARG when they were still doing Alter Reality games, when they were still running organized play for several games. And I earned 15 of those packs. And not exaggerating, I think I made almost $4,000 off of Brawlies and a bunch of other stuff I pulled. It was absolutely unhinged nuts because it's the third set had just dropped. This was I don't want to misspeak, but it's been so long. I think it was the second iteration of the promo packs. This is before judge stamp cards, before exclusive stuff like that. And the Brawly was like it was super meta playable. Everybody wanted it. And out of my 15, I pulled 9. And I was just like, guess I'll retire. I have not retired.
He didn't.
Someone stole my apes. No, I'm kidding. No, no crypto conversation. But
that's funny.
I wanted to use that in the I meant to say it and I forgot. I was like, don't steal our apes. But no, it creates this predatory practice from LGSs. And me, I earned those. I ran an event. I'm a huge proponent of the secondary market in TCGs. I want to make that clear, and I'm sure Dan would agree. I think it's healthy to have a secondary market where players can trade, sell, and value their cards as they need to sell them. I do believe in a fairness of getting the cards to the people in a way where everybody can get it, whether a min rarity or not. We didn't know that was the direction they were taking. As a matter of fact, people were complaining about it. Like, this is not okay. And they were so limited. We were the second event, and we were like the next 10 people to get them. And as the head judge, I got I got 15 packs, and I was like, oh, wow, this is cool. And then they were telling me how much this stuff is. I'm like, what? So when I obviously took advantage of the situation for me, not knowing that we just thought it was the first crack at the cards. we didn't know it was going to be, oh, well, this is the only way you're going to get them. Eventually, they came in reprint boxes and stuff way down the line.
Yeah.
But they should
Yep.
avoid that from the get-go, because you're exactly right. It creates predatory practices, and in particular for the people in the, I guess I'll use your word, unscrupulous actors, because I don't want to disparage anybody, but at the same time, if you are involved in that kind of stuff, you're not going to grow your local scene, and you're not going to have good faith in your player base, especially if they find that out.
And I don't want to only focus on that too. This certainly is a component of it. But I like to also say that, unscrupulous actors will be unscrupulous in plenty of different scenarios. Like they'll, with whatever promo product, they'll usually find a way to, make the most value for it. So,
Yeah.
What I like to focus on with that though, is just that player desire. The player, not even really desire. It's a need for some players to have their competitive deck functional right away. And it's not even like, it's not even like disparaging the player. It's not like, well, you should be patient. It's like, no, literally, like there's a major tournament in 2 weeks, and like, I want a chance to win, but they just released this product that's only available through promo packs at my local store. My local has one local before then. There's literally no other option but to go buy these at the first possible opportunity online from a random person. And wow, weird. Someone has 10 copies of this card that just released in the promo pack. Yeah. Like, wonder how they got that. But, so that's obviously, that's the whole side Jason's talking about. But, that really just highlights the issue, which is that that promo product is not getting butts in the seats at the LGS at that point. Yeah. It's literally doing one thing. It's putting a financial barrier up to playing competitively, and that financial barrier, the money itself doesn't go to the LGS. It goes to the person who is most okay with acquiring that money through whatever means necessary. Yeah. And that's not something that I think you want to support. Personally, it's not something I think you want to support in a tournament structure. So when they announced promo cards with alternate treatments, and especially the pack format, because the pack format avoiding that the Goku's Kamehameha thing before being like, okay, like you're going to get some random cards. I think the pack format could even be made better, right? I think they could. I like what if every pack comes with 2 non-foils and a foil? Like, like I like that kind of thing. There's lots of little things you can do to add collectability to those promo cards, to add to the variety, to keep them interesting. Like every time I get Grand Archive packs, I'm like, it could be anything. Like, this is so exciting. I'm so excited to see it. Well, there's no boats in the game yet, but there are going to be. There in Star Wars Unlimited, there are going to be things that are very like boats, but they're in space.
Sick. Oh, space boats, coast to coast. All right.
Yeah, you'll get space goats from coast to coast in Star Wars Unlimited.
Let's go. But yeah, you're right. That surprise factor, but knowing that it's going to be something that everyone has access to, it's just yours might be cooler. I think that's perfect. And people listening, I don't want you to take away from this that if you don't like it, we're not wrong or right. This is definitely our opinion. Yeah. Well, yeah, we're going to, once I turn this microphone off and all that, I'm going to message Dan on Discord and be like, I was totally right. No, you can have your own opinion. You're entitled to, but I think, and for a veteran of trading card games and what we're going to go into here in a minute is our experience in running these events and what we would hope for as organizers and the judge program. I think the best and most healthy local game scenes have been with that non-exclusivity of the card, just as to what it does being a different card versus just being an alternate art, a chase foil, a parallel foil, flat foil, rainbow foils. I remember when we were getting flat foils when they put them in DBS packs for the first time, for commons and uncommons. We lost our mind because it was something we didn't have access to. It was like, oh my gosh, we could foil. And it's stuff like that where if they go that route with the promo packs, that creates more excitement and puts more people at a willingness to come to a local and play than just saying, well, you can only get this Luke if you win this event, and too bad everybody else. It doesn't foster inclusivity in all of your players, and the ramifications with just nasty people and how they operate with all that.
This is just tangentially related, but can I interject with just a small, actually kind of hot take?
You can, sure.
So
Your
you
podcast. I'm
can,
just
Dan. This
sitting
is your
here.
podcast.
Yeah, hello. Duh. What am I gonna say? No.
Oh, okay. Bye. No.
Right.
So we just saw in the wonderful draft live stream that happened the day before we recorded this.
You're gonna spoil it for me. I was gonna watch it tomorrow.
Well, I'm not going to
spoil
spoil
it. That's too bad,
it
I guess. That's too bad.
I'm not going to. I'm not spoiling it for you. All I'm saying is that we did see our first foils. Okay, we saw our first foil cards, and I think they are nice and have room for improvement at the same time. That's
not a hot take.
That's the hottest I'm going to make the take. I could make it like Patreon hot.
I think I could make it Patreon hot.
No, I don't
be the comment section. Someone's going to poke that bear, and you're going to go. Eh.
I don't actually think it's a hotter take than that, because I do think they look nice. What the thing that stuck out to me, and I have to see them in person. Okay, I haven't seen them in person yet, and that can always change things. But they appear to be a flat. Well, a rainbow foil, okay. But it's a non-textured rainbow foil, with white plating on the text boxes on the card. Select elements, I believe, of some of the other the border elements and stuff. But from every card I saw there, I was trying so hard to look at each one. I saw no plating. By the way, for people who don't know what plating is, how they make some things foil and some things not. Okay. So I saw no plating effect on the artwork itself.
Okay. I feel like that's something I would need to have in my hand.
Yeah.
To
but really you can imagine, so you imagine you have a foil of a Star Destroyer, and it's just like the way foil works, some elements seem to shine a little differently, but I tend to think the nicest looking foils have really slick. I'm sitting in a TCG studio. I have a bunch of
cards. Don't you have a dang card in front of you?
I have a bunch of cards here. So for the YouTube audience here, this is a random universes card that was right next to me. I just grabbed it. You can see how Midoriya here the character is not foil, but the background is. Okay, so that's what we're talking about. The character's plated out, and the background is the foil part. Okay, and the background has different colors. You can kind of see how, that white part in the background does shine a little differently than the green, but at the same time, you can also see that it's all just kind of one patterned foil on there. So we'll see. I'll see them in person. I would prefer, and it's a lot of work because you actually need to create an individual file for every single foil that has the sort of white and black plating to allow the process to work. And I don't, if they chose not to do it, I don't know what the reasoning is or whatever, but I would like to see in future sets, or as you're saying, in promotional product for organized play or something, a type of foil that a foil card that actually has more of that play. Because I personally think when things are plated out like that, that's what really makes a foil look beautiful to me. You get the perfect mix of it's like almost like a 3D effect, as the things kind of popping out with the foil.
And maybe that's what the promo packs end up looking like. We don't know.
And maybe the foils do look like that. And I just saw bad examples. I literally don't know, but I saw a lot of people in chat being like, gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. And I'm like, and I didn't say anything. It's like, I think it's good, but it could be better. Right.
There you go. And that's okay. It's okay to have a loftier idea of what things should be. But it's not okay to say it's bad. No, I'm kidding. It's not okay that
no negativity.
No negativity. No, I think that and hopefully our listeners understand that we are going to have things we agree with and things we do not disagree with. This is not going to be everything is great and sunshines and roses kind of thing. I think we would be discrediting the people who are taking the time to listen to us and not being honest to each other as friends if we can't just talk about what we don't like. So I don't want to keep going on the foil train and the promo train. I think they're doing that great. We've talked about what we really want to hope for. So what I want to touch on is kind of like maybe our final point here is you and I have extensive judge backgrounds in multiple trading card games, and like you and for the people who don't know, and I don't know if we talked about how we met, but I think we did, and we met
We
judging
did.
Dragon Ball Z Panini, and Dan, myself, and one other gentleman, and eventually another gentleman, were the highest level judges in the land. Basically, we were the Super Saiyan level 3 judges, and we were basically we just yelled. It was crazy.
Yeah,
And
we
I was
just
like,
yelled. That's all
we
we
just
did.
yelled a lot, and I had to get a lot of haircuts. Um, but no, and it was up to us we traveled across the United States and ran multiple events, and it was great and it was fun. So Dan, I'll let you kind of start with this. We know about the local survey. We know what's your kind of expectation for what they should be doing with kind of like the organized play circuit at large, getting the community involved, judges, stuff like that.
Well, the thing that's funny is like even right away with every TCG, the first thing I see is people asking, "Is there a judge program for this?" Well,
Yeah.
like, okay, first of all, yeah, there obviously will be. There will be a judge program. You heard it here first. There will be some
Wow.
sort of judge program
Breaking
happening.
news.
Yep.
We kind of will things into existence around here.
Yeah, we
So,
do. We do. We did on the
yeah.
last one, and I think we're going to here too. I
Two for two.
bet right after we launch this is going to be like judge program opening.
Let's go.
No, like there obviously will be, right? So there's some elements that people are asking for that are just going to be like givens that are going to happen. Like there will be some way to sign up to be to confirm that you're a knowledgeable person enough to be able to run events and everything. Judge programs are tricky though, right? Every game does things a little differently. Bandai is like the most insanely serious judge program in the world, where you have to like go through, like, I don't know what it was when you were doing Super, but when I was signing up for Battle Spirits, I had to like, I had this proctored Discord call test I had to take, timed, and if you failed it, you had like one more chance, and then you had to like wait until your 40th birthday or something to take it again or whatever.
Let's go next year.
Yeah, next year for you, Jason. Yeah,
yay,
yay. So what I expect is not that, because that's like, I think Bandai's the most wild one of that. But I expect some sort of like test taking procedure and some sort of process of getting people into the idea of judging. I expect local level tournament organizers to be engaged with as well. Obviously, we have the casual side of the circuit where shops are going to be basically freely getting those store champs that they get to run. But some amount of shops, and I don't think they've said how they're choosing who's going to get to start to run planetary qualifiers. But you're going to see perhaps shops that are going above and beyond in their ordering and their player base, whatever indication they can use to indicate, there's a reasonable amount of people here, or just geographically located well. Some mix of those. And perhaps, one thing we did in the DBZ era was there's some pretty grassroots stuff. Like we got a regional in Fargo, North Dakota, because we demanded it really hard. And we built a big group of players in the area, and I had everyone like tweet at Panini or whatever. And like, I know I wasn't tweeting. I don't remember what we did though. We just got people to try and like make the demand known with our, what was a big group. And we got to run two excellent regionals in the area that some people flew in for. And it was, and that kind of stuff is great. I love when a smaller TCG gets to just kind of like you'll have these weird hot areas sometimes, like, and that was a hot game here. So, I think you'll get some amount of that running, and you'll end up having some tournament organizers who step up and run things off of that's the other thing. They'll run things off of FFG's circuit, right? And that's the big thing that we can look forward to, I think, in 2024, where we said that, the store champs aren't going to start until set 2. Now, the planetary sector regional stuff, that's not slated to start until 2025. My personal hope is that means first quarter 2025, meaning the set 3 metagame is going to have the first. I would prefer set 2 metagame, if you ask me. I prefer set 1 metagame.
Actually, I agree. Absolutely.
But we can hope at least that means set 3 metagame is going to start to get some of those higher level events. But before then, I know what we're going to get is some TOs stepping up to just run their own cash events, run their own kind of whatever events they want to see, um, that are going to, I believe, attract a lot of people to go to these, because it's what's available. It's the thing that Lorcana can do right now, and it
Yeah.
has some people stepping up and running that. Um, so yeah, I mean that's kind of some of the stuff I expect from all of that. As far as how they support the people doing those, obviously I don't expect Fantasy Flight to send anything to the extra to the people who are just running their like 1Ks or whatever during 2024. Um, but we already know some of the stuff they're going to be sending as far as like promos and stuff. I expect judges to be getting. Fantasy Flight has a history now. We know this. Like when I helped run some X-Wing and Destiny events and was compensated with some really nice little packages from Fantasy Flight for doing TO and judging work that included the promos and the cool boxes and the cool counters and all the kind of stuff that they included in those. So I expect a lot of that kind of stuff too.
Yeah, I think that's definitely reasonable. I think the biggest thing that I would like to see out the gate is a plan for an organized judge program where it's not kind of Calvin Ball. I come from the Final
Yeah.
Fantasy trading card game, and without disparaging the game that I love and will play until it's gone and long after, our judge program is almost non-existent. It's kind of like how our judge program turned out. We
I
were
was
just
about to say,
faces in the
speaking of Calvin
community.
Ball,
Well, we could do a whole episode on how we would discuss how rulings would go down for cards that were, and you know what,
that's
I
an
will
excellent
be
Patreon episode. Actually, that we're going to do that.
yeah, we should, and you should definitely tune in for if you want to know some really kind of, I mean, pants off, kind of off the pants on head kind of wackiness that interpreting how cards work versus what the developers of the card game wanted to work, and how we thought and know how it should work as constant players of the game. Um, but what I would like is some structure and hierarchy. However, they decide to implement that, but whether having higher authorities within um, the developer team that become your rules authorities, and then eventually you put people in place that have learned and known that, and that way you have some sort of anchor to that, and then it goes down and disseminates to everybody that way.
One issue that I see some TCGs running into as far as that kind of structure of like multiple levels of judging is that they can often quickly become an old boys club at the high
Oh,
level.
sure.
And I would really like, I agree. I would like to see, I always like the structure where it's like, okay, it's fairly easy to become a level 1
Yeah.
judge. It's because that's the like base level. Like I'm just get my locals going. But I don't like it when to try and advance beyond that to the point where you are, being invited to run super like some or to help run super big events. I don't like when that's just, well, how DBZ was, where it's just like,
Yeah.
well,
It's not
you
about who you
know,
know. It shouldn't be about who you know.
I know you, so you get to be the judge. Yeah, it
That's
should be
what
that
happened with
anyone
me.
who, well,
You know,
that was all of us. Like that
literally
was
how
just
it
like,
worked. We were faces in the community that were active. We were active in our local scenes, and I also think it worked out geographically for us.
yeah.
I took like the southern, although I mean, I also flew across the country and did all that, but I think it worked
Dude,
out
they
in
flew
that
me
way
to
for us.
Oregon. They flew me to Oregon from North Dakota with a layover in Texas. So
That's
it doesn't
so
actually
insane.
matter where you were.
Yeah, I like to think that. But you're absolutely right. I don't want it to be about a who you know kind of thing. I think your work should be noticed and put in, and I do think there's ways they could track it. Pokemon does that very well. Pokemon, when you run an event and you upload it, you put your organizer number, and you could put whoever judges. I am a level 2 organizer and a level 1 judge for Pokemon, which means I run larger scale events. And I've also judged smaller to mid-range events for Pokemon. And when you upload that, you put who judged, and that's their track record going forward. When you go to apply for a regional spot, you're like, well, I've done this, this, and this. Well, they have that information, So now it's
Yep.
not about, well, I like them or they seem to get out there. I would really like work to be merited for that kind of stuff. because there are people, and I'm one of those. I have that brain rot where I just want to make sure that everyone's having fun playing their anime poker, or for us, it's going to be space poker, whatever we're doing. I want to make sure we're having the best time. And I used to say it at the start of all my DVD regionals, is like, I just want to make sure we're having a good time within the confine of the rules. And I hope that the spirit of that is well reflected in the judge program. But I also would like it to be clearly defined as to how things work. In terms of that, in terms of when there is a question on things like that, it's okay to have community input and everybody to understand it. It's not okay for it to be interpreted as such, and that's how it works. I think there needs to be a finite resource and an end game in that. And I really hope that as the game progresses, we'll have that kind of network. And in terms of that, for the people to make these events go as best they can, because
you're talking for like individual rulings for cards.
Oh, absolutely. Even a compendium of sorts. We get one for each set of Pokemon. There's always a post, and this is what this card does and what it's meant to do. Almost like not like a CRD or a FAQ, but just it's kind of like a hot list. I don't want that word for word. That's not what I'm looking for. But the support is there for when these cards come out, and it's not just left to almost a community's devices to kind of figure out how things work. I would like to have a clear kind of cut. This is how it goes. This is how it should be interpreted, and how it could be done.
Well, that's a great thing to bring up, and I think will create an excellent transition between a couple of other things that we should probably talk about a little bit here before we're going pretty long here already, but before we get too late here. So we already know that Fantasy Flight has talked multiple times about their really, really excellent website that exists and will have a lot of stuff on it, and it'll be extremely cool. Currently, it's just got a bunch of articles, and that's fine. Like, that's great. Actually, I actually am very happy with all the articles they put out. There's a lot of good, content that they're tossing out there, working that search engine optimization and everything. So that's awesome. But part of this organized play program, I expect this website to be an integral component of it in multiple ways. If this program is going to be truly as robust and good as I expect it to be, then, and actually, I'm going to go ahead and throw my reference back to Grand Archive here as well. Grand Archive is the game that punches way above its weight all the time. It's like a 6-person team doing this. They're about to launch the Omnidex, which is their online, which is what Fantasy Flight should have, at least.
Sure.
Again, 6-person team who kickstarted their game. If they can do it, every other TCG company that has a major TCG can do it. That's bottom line. They can get it out there. So basically what I want to see on the website is I want to see that there's sort of the Omnidex type thing, which is basically player rankings, player tracking, event operating. Like their intention is to, you put the events on that site, and then a player app will allow you to find events in your area, all that kind of stuff. And register for events, all that kind of stuff. Oh, better than Bandai's, though. Better than TCG
right.
Plus.
And I don't interrupt you, but will that include their own tournament software?
Yes.
Okay. That's so I didn't get to mention that yet, but I'm hoping the same thing here. Proprietary tournament software.
Proprietary tournament software, I think, is essential if I'm going to consider. I do this video. I did this video a few months ago of the top 5 competitive TCGs. And I didn't explicitly call it out, but having a proprietary tournament software, and one that isn't Bandai TCG Plus, it's so bad, guys. It's so bad.
It's terrible.
If you haven't ever used it, you have no idea. It's so bad. But having your own proprietary tournament software allows you to avoid the issues that plague all of these other tournament softwares. That, like, using Challenge has issues all the time. It's a rough software. It allows you to control exactly how your tiebreakers, your strength of schedule works for everything. It makes, as long as it's a good piece of software, it makes it easy for everyone to know exactly how to run their things. There's no difference between, they ran it on Challenge, so that's how third place was calculated. It's different if you run it on Konami tournament software or something.
Alphabetical order is what Challenge would default to for a good period. So if you were in third and had the same record, and my name began with an A, well, guess what? I was third. So stuff like that. Don't
Wow.
mean it, but yeah, it's just yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, it's like it's exactly, why I think that's an essential thing. So if Star Wars Unlimited is going to make my new competitive TCG list that I probably am going to do this year, late in this year, I want to see. Well, I probably won't make it this year because they're not going to have a lot out really for competitive play yet. But I want to see them implementing things like their own tournament software, those rankings that you can view online, and what you're saying too. This like uh, comprehensive ruling again. Grand Archive has what they call the index. Every card viewable, rulings listed. They have a comp rule book as well. Um, that is all doable stuff that will improve the organized play experience by making it smooth, making it easy to access, easy to find the information you need, and especially because their competitive circuit is using a point structure, you must have a way to view your points online. You have to. It's not like that's a non-negotiable requirement. I'm not going to, and I say this again with my reference to Panini Z, I'm not going to rely on random blog updates with how
On a
many points
WordPress. Yeah.
on a
Here's
WordPress
everyone's
blog.
rankings.
That's just that is not acceptable. And I'm not saying this like Fantasy Flight is not going to have this unless I say it. But at the same time, Jason, as you said, we do will things into existence
Hmm.
here. So
Absolutely. I
I'm
got
looking
that
forward to
poster
it.
for the solicitation at our LGSs literally after we said, where is stuff hitting our LGSs so that we could promote it. But,
Yep.
and also too, when we ran that stuff, and not to get back to that, we were running this years ago. So it was a different landscape now. I
Oh
do
yeah.
think there is an expectation now that you need to have your ducks in a row with this stuff to be successful. It's not a heavy ask, but it's definitely something I feel. And just like you said, if they can't deliver that at a minimum, then I think there's more problems underlying than that, than the fact that it's just not there. I don't expect that. I do expect there to be some sort of ruling compendium or stuff like that, especially like you said, they're really touting this website as kind of like the catch-all, the experience, everything you need. Well, have an organized play tab, scroll down on the tab. Here's our rules page. Here's a fact. Here is comp rules. Here is organizer rules, stuff like that. Stuff that should just be baseline. It's stuff that we shouldn't have to say, but I think we'd be remiss if we didn't mention it.
I think my just I want to make sure my position is also very clear that Fantasy Flight so far, and I didn't think I'd be saying this when I first heard the announcement was Fantasy Flight was bringing this, but Fantasy Flight so far has actually delivered on just about every expectation I've had, aside from starting competitive OP next year. I kind of was hoping it would be earlier,
Sure.
but I also expect them to deliver on this. I like one thing I've learned so far is that when they say this is going to happen, that has happened so far with Star Wars Unlimited specifically. Um, and so they've been saying the website's great. The website's going to have all sorts of stuff. It's just going to be really useful for players. I expect all of that to be the case. And I also think that they are really doing a good job of listening to the players. There hasn't been a lot of time to like super react to things, but we have seen some pivoting of things happening early on. If you're following like right away, spoilers early on, there was some pivoting of releasing certain things, certain information early on, just to and like going out of the way to answer questions that they were planning on answering later, or telling people we're going to answer that question, but we want to get a certain person onto our live stream to answer it because they're going to do the best possible job of answering that for you and making it totally clear. Um, and that kind of stuff encouraging to me. I
Absolutely.
like to see that.
And if we want to be transparent with our thoughts, full transparency, I appreciate that they are likewise being transparent about their process. They're like you said, hey, we're going to make sure this person is here to talk about this because no one wants to speak out of turn. For me, speaks volumes to what they're trying to do. And as content creators, if we want to be holding them accountable for things they do, we also need to respect that there is a level of transparency and listening to the community that I hope they continue through the tenure of the game, whether we're talking about organized play or release schedules, anything like that.
One thing that's interesting, just as a sort of a side note to the whole conversation, but just about the relationship that people have with TCGs these days, is that I think a lot of people expect I think a lot of people correctly expect a lot of transparency and communication, and that makes sense, right? Like, I'm buying into this product, I'm excited about this product, I want to promote this product, but I need to make sure I'm getting, you can't just be radio silent for 3 months. You
Right.
like can't do that. And especially when it's a company that's had issues in the past and needs to basically say, you know what, like, that's we're committed to that not happening, and we want to you commitment can't just be stated, it has to be shown. um, on the flip side, I do just want to, I guess, caution people against um starting to expect too much out of some of that. It's very easy. It's this kind of slope. It's easy to start stumbling down. Like a great example, like, I'm just going to go back to it one more time, but the question was about the uniqueness rule early on in those live streams, and people saying, "Can you tell us about the uniqueness rule?" And them saying, "We will tell you about the uniqueness rule. We can't do it right now, but we will do it shortly." And then they brought on, I think it was Tyler. They brought on who just had like a 30-minute, like, super comprehensive, like, insane answer that was really, really, really helpful. Um, and there's there is a two-way street involved here, of this sort of like, they need to earn our trust by being transparent when it's important to, right? But at the same time, if we need to sort of have a little bit of trust in them, if they're showing us that they can be transparent when they're saying there's something we can't talk about, or there's something that we're going to talk about soon. um, if they've earned that trust from us, which I think so far, I'm liking what I'm seeing, then it's important to also be able to back off and say, okay, well, you know what, like, let's give them time, because some of these things we're talking about, like, them listening to us, like, let's say they don't have a plan for the tournament software, their own tournament software, whatever, right? Well, they can't right now just say, well, there's no tournament software planned. That's a pretty bad idea. um, they also can't say that, oh, we're definitely going to do that then. If you guys want that, we're definitely going to do that, because there's, like, with Star Wars Unlimited in particular, there's Fantasy Flight approvals, there's Asmodee North America approvals, there's Lucasfilm approvals for, like, everything they do
Mhm.
that has any if it has any semblance of Luke's, like, pinky finger on it, Lucasfilm has to make sure it's okay.
Mhm.
um and some of that stuff, man, it just, like, it takes time, and sometimes you have to go, you know what, like, make yourself heard, right? Like, make your opinions heard, but be respectful. Just be like,
Yes.
this is what we need to see. And then if they say, well, we'll give you information when we can, they will probably give you information when they can. That's the point. So just, I guess, it's like a caution to, like, continue to be respectful on both sides.
Yeah, I think without delving too far into it, I think some people develop this parasocial relationship with the TCGs they play and
Yes.
expect that the I need this and I need this now and I'm buying your card game. Rome wasn't built in a day. Things are going to get done as they get done, and as long as there's a transparency that, hey, um, we they can't confirm or deny things. We know that as veterans in the TCG community, we understand that. Player base at large may not. So remembering that behind all those things and behind all of those rallying of things you need, there's tons of approvals and there's people behind that who see that kind of stuff. So caution to that as well. Make your voice be heard, but be reasonable, and be polite, be kind as always. So that being said, Dan, did you have anything you wanted to circle back and go over?
I just wanted to tie back that last segment into everything, which is that I'm personally, I'm going to patiently wait here. I'm not going to harp on it too much, but I am going to say that I have made my voice heard, that I would love if there's any way to move that timeline on the OP events up just a little bit. I would love to see some late 2024 planetary qualifiers start to trickle into a few stores. I would also love to be wrong about Fantasy Flight not supporting the independent events with extra, like if there's a big TCG store that wants to run a 5K or something, it would be really cool if Fantasy Flight said, okay, like let's work something out. Let's try and figure out a licensing thing so that we can have like some presence there with some more of like, make it, not quite what a planetary qualifier is going to be like, but hey, send some cardboard cutouts, send
Yeah.
some cool promos or something, like just get something rolling. So it's a little bit, that's the kind of stuff that when I see that kind of stuff, it's like, okay, this, like, this company really cares. I can really tell that they're really interested in like the how what the experience is like for everybody. So I'm just gonna say, I'm put my opinion out there and go, you know what, they're gonna do what they can do, make it heard. If they're able to make something work, then that's great, and maybe we'll start to see a little bit earlier OP, higher level OP stuff, like feeling a little more official. If not, I'm also just going to trust that, I like everything has a timeline and a schedule, and has so many hands in the kitchen just trying to make these cookies come out nice. So I'm just going to give them the space that they need as well.
Yeah, and to kind of expound on that a little bit, I just would like, I think if my one takeaway from this entire conversation is I hope they just send the promo packs to my house and then I have them. No, no, I hope.
We're just ending
No,
there.
yeah, and scene. No, I really just hope that with the guidelines and everything we have in play, it's great to make a commitment, but remember that things can change, and I hope they do change. There's always variables to these things. I hope that everyone is excited as we are for Star Wars Force Unleashed's organized play plan and getting in there
Force
and playing.
Unleashed has organized play.
God in heaven. Funny, hold on real quick. I actually finally got that on Steam because my Xbox and PS that all died. And I was playing it over Christmas break as part of my Star Wars homework I've been giving myself.
Yeah.
And literally game. Right here on my desk, and it's behind my monitor, so I don't want to grab it, is my Steam Deck. And I was playing that before we started today.
That's awesome.
That's probably why it's fresh in my mind. But yeah. I really hope that with that excitement that everyone continues to understand that this is a company that has certain things they're allowed to do and certain things they're allowed to talk about. So again, it's okay to have expectations, but understand that they're going to meet them at their pace and what they feel they need to do in a way that's conducive to them and with all the legalese and everything else.
I feel like I really don't want to end this with, I feel like we came off, I think, very respectfully critical, but a little bit lectury maybe there. So I really don't want that to be the case, but I do think that, I mean, there's people who in a growing community and a new community and a community based on a fandom that is a little bit sometimes kind of polarizing and like, look, we've had plenty of cases of Star Wars fans saying some very inappropriate things to people who did not deserve it, who were involved in the creation of a media that they were very passionate about, but engaged at their passion in the wrong way. Okay.
Yeah.
So if you didn't feel like this was, if you felt like the lectury bits here were not applicable to you, they very well might not be. But it is stuff that I just kind of, I wanted to get, I don't know how, this is our medium for getting that information out there, getting our thoughts out there. So I think what Star Wars Unlimited is going to have, though, is going to have the best parts of the fandom. That's what I believe. I believe, because I think TCG players are, by and large, there's some bad actors. There's some, we talked about them plenty so far in this episode already, but by and large, TCG players are awesome people who are here for a fun time, who want to have fun, and if you like Star Wars Unlimited, you probably just like Star Wars. Like in general, like, you may have your favorites, you may have your least favorites, but you probably just like all this stuff in general, and you're probably a cool person. So,
nice.
That's great. I just want to make sure everyone stays as radical as they possibly can in this super, super fun new TCG world that we're stepping into.
And if you think any of the other stuff applies to you, then look in the mirror and figure it out. No, no,
there it is.
No, I'm serious. I'm not trying to be that guy. But on that tubular radical note, with all that, I liked that. I think you should incorporate that more into what you do in your videos.
Oh yeah.
That like your next
more hang
thumbnail,
glitchy.
just get a surfer shirt. My shirt has coconuts on it today. Anyway,
I live so far away from surfing, you have no idea.
I want to thank everybody for taking the time to join into episode number 2 of Galactic Ambition, part of the Main Deck podcast family. Did I get that one?
There it is.
Let's
yeah,
go.
That's true. That's right.
We'll be back in 2 weeks. I really appreciate my time in talking with Dan about this stuff. I really hope you guys take a lot away from these conversations. And again, let us know what you think. Please give us your thoughts. We engage in the comments all the time. We want to know what you hear, and we want to talk about it some more. So please reach out to us. So I think that's it for the week. We'll be back in 2 weeks like I talked about. I've been Jason, and Dan, thank you so much for having me, as always.
Absolutely. Thank you guys so much for watching. See you in
we'll
the next
see you in 2 weeks. Take care. Be safe.
Hang loose or
hang
10
10
or
rock on. This is a bird. That's a bird.